Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 things that you must do every day, starting right now, if you want to learn how to sleep naturally without pills. One of the biggest misconceptions that people have about insomnia is that it only is something that happens at night when you want to fall asleep. Well, I'm here to break it to you that insomnia is actually a 24-hour condition. So it's not just what you do at night when you want to fall asleep, it's really how you approach your entire day. The things that are keeping you up at night are also filtering into your everyday routine and your everyday thought patterns. So if you have an overactive brain at night and you have a hard time shutting your mind off, you're probably thinking a lot during the day too. If you're anxious at night, you probably experience anxiety during the day too. And if you're feeling stressed out at night, you're probably stressed out and worrying at some point during the day too. So that's why it's just super important to approach insomnia holistically from an around the clock mindset so that you can actually get to the root cause of what's actually causing insomnia and what's actually making it hard for you to fall asleep to begin with. So if you're excited to learn these tips to get rid of insomnia, make sure to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and also click the notification bell to make sure you get notified every time I upload a new video. To start off, I want to mention that there are a lot of really common mistakes that people make when they have insomnia. So it's super important that you check out my other video, which I'll link up over here, so that you can also make sure that you aren't making these same mistakes. I also need to mention a little bit about how the brain works in order for this video to make any sense. The brain's job is to automate as much as possible so that we don't consciously have to think about every single little thing that we do during the day. So what the brain ends up doing is it ends up habituating our thought patterns and our ways of thinking based on experiences that we've had in the past. But what can end up happening is our brain ends up applying certain thought patterns to different experiences that we're having in the present that might not even be related or that are taken completely out of context. So in one instance, when you were feeling anxious or nervous or stressed, at some point in your life, it was totally appropriate to be feeling that way given whatever situation you were in. But what's happening now is your brain can be applying those same thought patterns and that same response to other parts of your life where you don't actually need to be feeling that way at all. So keeping that in mind, let's now dive straight into some things that you can start doing every day to help you sleep naturally without pills. The first thing is to pay attention to your thought patterns all day long. Like I said before, it's not just what you do at night to fall asleep, it's how you approach your entire day. Insomnia is a 24-hour condition. 95% of the things that we do every day are happening on autopilot. We may think that we're in control of everything that we do throughout the day, but the truth of the matter is that our brain already has programmed out 95% of this for us. From the moment that you wake up in the morning and take that first step out of bed, most of us are living our lives on total autopilot, and the things that we do day to day end up looking really similar. But the key thing here is that it's not just our actions that are habituated on a daily basis, it's also our thought patterns. And this here blows my mind because it means that we're having similar thought patterns as yesterday, as last week, as last month, and probably even last year. So it's really important that you start paying attention to the types of thoughts you're having and to start realizing that the thoughts that you're having are actually generated by your brain based on experiences that happened to you in the past. You need to realize that your thought patterns are actually habits. And it's not to say that you are having the exact same thoughts every second of every single day. Obviously, that doesn't make sense because different things happen to us as we go about our lives. But what I'm referring to is that the pattern of thought is generally the same. Everyone has what I like to call a default thought pattern, which means that when you're thinking, most of the time you're placing your attention on things that already happened in the past or on things that haven't happened yet in the future. And when you're having a hard time falling asleep due to overthinking or not being able to turn your mind off and relax, it's because you're either focusing so much on the past or the future. Because if your mind was instead placing its attention on the present moment, your brain would recognize that it's time to fall asleep and you'd fall asleep. No questions asked. So I want to know, which one of these are you? Do you spend most of your time thinking about the past or about the future? So tell me in the comments right now which one of these spectrums you tend to lean towards. Now, The goal here isn't to think about the past or the future, but it's actually to focus on the present moment, on what's happening in your immediate surroundings right now. So now let's start to talk about what you can actually do about this. The first thing that you can do to start to make some progress with this is to start recognizing your thoughts and start paying attention to your thoughts as you go about your day, and start to become familiar with your default thought patterns. So that's as simple as you go about your day, just start to recognize if you're focusing more on the past, the present, or the future. And I'm gonna tell you right now that most of the time you're probably not focused on the present. Most of us aren't, and this is also something that I'm personally working on getting better at. Becoming familiar with your default thought patterns is going to serve as a foundational stepping stone for you for a few reasons. Reason number one is that when you increase your awareness of your default thought patterns, what happens when you do that is you're actually already refocusing your attention on the present moment, which is going to serve you at night when it's time to fall asleep, because you'll be able to more easily consciously recognize when you're thinking too much about the past or the future. And you need to get used to focusing on the present moment in order to be able to fall asleep easily. Reason number two is that by paying attention to the types of thoughts in your mind throughout the day, by doing that, you can begin to actually catch yourself when you're saying or thinking something that might be self-sabotaging your ability to fall asleep easily. So you should also check out my other video, which I'll link up over here, where I go into more detail on how you're probably self-sabotaging your ability to fall asleep. In addition to paying attention to your thought patterns during the day, the second thing that you need to do to learn how to fall asleep naturally without pills is that you need to practice techniques that train your brain and that train your mind to calm down and relax. And mainly I'm referring to meditation. Meditation is so powerful, and yet I barely know anybody that actually commits to meditating every day. So it's no wonder that most of us are completely stressed out of our minds most of the time. The most important thing with meditation is consistency and repetition, and you just have to commit to it. Meditation is super effective at helping you become aware of your default thought patterns, and I swear that doing just this one thing alone can totally change your life. So if you want to learn more about why it's important to meditate every day, you can check out my other video that I did on that exact topic, which I will link up over here. The next thing that is so important, and I cannot emphasize this enough, is that you cannot neglect your evening routine. The last 2 hours of your day need to be completely dedicated to winding down, relaxing, and mentally detaching from the busy day you just had. And to be real, most people don't pay enough attention to this. Most people are not cognizant of what they do in the evening, but this is one thing that you can do today that is going to directly impact your ability to fall asleep easily. That means no working, no texting, no social media, no dating apps, nothing that is going to cause your mind to become more alert and more engaged during the last 2 hours of your day. I also went ahead and put together a really handy evening routine checklist where I give you more recommendations about how to actually spend the last 2 hours of your day so that you have a better chance of being able to fall asleep easily. So I will link that up in the description box below, so you can click that link to download that free checklist. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit subscribe, hit that like button, and also click the notification bell so that you're the first to know next time I upload a new video. In the meantime, check out my other videos on how to get rid of insomnia over here. Remember, you can fall asleep. I believe in you, and I'll see you in the next one.